This is a picture of me when I was 16 years old and first got certified to dive. We used to do a lot of diving off the coast of California, up and down from Santa Monica, clear up to Channel Islands. And I always wanted, from the day that I started diving, to come and dive the Great Barrier Reef. So finally, I'm 69 now, so what, 53 years later, it's becoming a reality. And we dove, uh, we used tanks on the first dive from this platform. You can see there's a living quarters in the back where the people actually live out here. There's the diving, excuse me, diving and snorkeling section. All the tanks and gear. Everybody has to wear a stinger suit or a wetsuit to protect against the jellyfish stings. And you'll see some jellyfish later on in the video. And this is the area where you can snorkel. You can see the waves breaking over the reef. This was actually taken leaving, but I wanted to be able to show you what the reef looks like from the surface. It's very shallow. It was only 2 to 5 feet of water on top of the top part of the reef when we were there. I'm not sure what the tide condition was, but it must have been low tide. It's the only thing I can think of. But you can see the waves breaking over the reef, and there's an adjoining platform over there on the left-hand side. Ours was called Remora. So, I'm not going to narrate most of this. There's a few things I want to say as we get into it when we find the jellyfish, but I'm just going to let you watch it, listen to the music. It's incredibly beautiful. Mother Nature is fantastic. This is such eye candy for me anyway. I could look at this for hours, but I've kept it to just 12 minutes. Actually, I have run this at 1.5 speed to cover a little bit more ground in less time. I had originally about 24 minutes of video, which I pared down and then ran at 1.5 speed so you could see more of the reef. It was a beautiful day. No swell at all, only wind ripple on the surface, and so it couldn't have been a better day. No clouds to speak of, and my dive computer told me the water was 86 degrees, and probably it was, I don't know, 84 degrees out on the platform in the air. So really, you couldn't ask for better conditions. The water wasn't exactly perfectly clear as it was in Morea, but certainly when you're only looking through 4 feet of water to look down at the reef, there's plenty of light. And again, I'm just floating on the surface. I never had to dive down to get any of this, just floating over the top of it, sometimes in 2 feet of water, sometimes in 4 feet of water. All right, there's a jellyfish. The fish are eating it. I don't know if you could watch them nip away at the sides. This one doesn't have any tentacles, so I don't think it's a box jellyfish. I don't know, but since it didn't have any tentacles, I wasn't worried about it. The fish were definitely snacking on it. And I ran across that a little later on as well. So I don't know if it was a different one or the same one floating around. how there could be so many different colors. It's just absolutely amazing. And once in a while you can see my camera handle in there. You can't see the camera, but sometimes you can see the handle. And I'm filming this with a Insta360 X3 camera, which when I film it, it's in 3D, but when I edit it, I turn it back into just a regular video like you might get with a GoPro. You can't move around and look any direction, but when I edit it, I can see in all directions, so I can look at anything I want. One of the really fun things about this camera is 3D, you can go back and take any still photograph that you want. When you see something, you don't even have to be looking at it when you're filming. You might see it over your shoulder or up above you or something. And you can always go back and take a still photo of it, which is what I used to make the collage for the diving videos that I posted yesterday. All those still photos that were in the diving collage were taken by just zooming in and taking a still shot from the video. So that's fun. There's some pink coral, the pinks and blues and greens. It's just amazing. And the variety of fish. Again, I wish I had a fish chart so that I could identify them. I know the bright blue ones are parrotfish. You can see some angelfish and some sergeant major fish. That's the black and white striped ones. And we didn't see any really large fish, but we did. The biggest fish we saw was probably a foot long, and it was probably a parrotfish. No sharks, but I saw anyway. This is the real definition of swimming in somebody's aquarium. When I used to take Annie to the aquarium, there was one favorite aquarium tank that I told her I always liked. It was my favorite, and it looked just like this. She could point it out to you at the aquarium. So over my, 54 years of diving since 1970, I think I've got around 127, 130 dives, something like that. Not all logged, unfortunately, but there's a guy on the Ultimate World Cruise that used to have a dive shop. He's got over 8,000 hours of logged diving time and all over the world. And for him, Galapagos was the most amazing in terms of the sea life, not necessarily the coral, but I think between Morea and here is where I've seen the most beautiful coral anywhere in the world. You don't see the kelp forests and that like you do in California, but it's just beautiful. Yeah, those greenfish are parrotfish down there. They actually eat the coral. All right, we're coming up on the end here pretty quick. And we, as I mentioned earlier, we accessed the platform by taking a high-speed catamaran that picked us up at the ship and took us out there. And it was great to be able to fulfill a lifelong dream of diving on Barrier Reef. Barrier Reef. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I saw. This last shot is on the way back in the catamaran with Serenade in the background and the sun setting on Yorkeys Knob, Queensland, Australia. So here we are.